What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest channel and podcast. If you have not subscribed yet, please do go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you have not yet, if you're listening to this on YouTube, go ahead and hit that like button, because it's like walking into the room without turning on a light switch. It just brightens up the place. And let's just go ahead and get into this conversation. Now, if you heard the news last week about Kanye West and the comments that he made about George Floyd and how he felt and the way he lost his life and all of those different things, and how the family of George Floyd was going to be filing a $250 million lawsuit against the artist formerly known as Kanye. You know, we can all sit, and I believe most of us would agree that the man did not deserve to lose his life, right? And it was found in court that by way of autopsy reports, it was revealed that he did lose his life. It was contributed to the way the officer was holding him down and kneeling on him. So we can all, I believe, agree to that. And I believe most of us can agree that George Floyd was not Martin Luther King Jr. He was not a civil rights leader. He was not a leader in the community. He wasn't any of those things. So I would say that I don't even know, to be honest with you, I'm just going to start here. I don't even know why Kanye decided to even talk about him. I believe some of it may have had to do with his affiliation with Candace Owens, because Candace Owens has made comments about George Floyd throughout that trial, before it even got to trial. Like, she definitely shared her thoughts and opinions on George Floyd himself, and how she felt like the Black community rallies around the least, I wouldn't say significant, but the least desirable people when it comes to doing these protests and things of that nature. And some could agree with her and some could disagree with her. People have the right to their opinions. I'm not a fan of Candace Owens, for different reasons, and I'm not going to go into all of those reasons, but I will say that a comment that she made recently, I would say that I'm going to be unpopular opinion, but I agree with her on. And this is coming from someone who used to be in the legal field. I was a legal assistant for 12 years. And although it was not the field that I wanted to continue to stay in, and that's one of the reasons I chose to leave, is because it wasn't what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. One of the things that annoyed me about the legal field, just taking intake calls, dealing with people that were pursuing possible litigation, some of the most outlandish and crazy things that people would want to sue for. And it's like, get over it. I'm not saying that what happened to you was right, but if people could just sue for anything and any reason, then we live in what I called it, and I still do call it, the Sue SA. Not the USA, but the Sue SA, because you just can sue anyone for anything, for whatever. And there's so many frivolous lawsuits out there that it just is baffling to me that a lot of times things are even allowed to be filed. But the court system is a business. You can't file cases for free. Even if you do not have an attorney, in order to file a lawsuit, there are charges that you have to pay in order for the case to be filed, okay? So all of these things, it boils down to money. The legal system, it is a business. They pay court clerks. Most counties, the court clerks are elected officials. So you've got that. And then they've got the staff of the people that work in the clerk of court's office. And then judges have clerks and assistants and all of these different things. So this is a business. It's a big time business. So they're not really going to turn down lawsuits being filed. It doesn't mean that you're going to get to the finish line and the case won't get dismissed, or even more so that you would win the case more likely than not if it's frivolous and it gets past the point of being dismissed, a motion to dismiss being filed and then it being granted. You're going to lose for the most part, unless the parties come to some sort of agreement and settlement out of court. And settlements out of court, a lot of times they are saying, we are settling out of court. We are signing these documents to say this settlement is not an admission of guilt. So a settlement out of court doesn't mean that the other party that's choosing to pay the other party money that they agree to accept means that they're accepting any liability or any guilt. It's just saying, I just want to get your ass off my back and move on with my life. And because I have some money to do it, or I'm willing to make a sacrifice to do so that I don't have to tie up my time and my money with attorneys and going into hearings and depositions and mediations and court hearings and all of these things, I'm just choosing to get you off my back, okay? So when these statements were made by Kanye West about George Floyd and the family coming out to say that they were considering filing a $250 million lawsuit, I haven't seen a lawsuit that has been filed yet. I've heard both. I've heard it being said that they were considering a lawsuit, and then I've seen reports that said that they were filing a lawsuit. At this point in time, to my knowledge, nothing has been filed as of yet. But when I heard about that, I was honestly of the opinion of, here we go, another frivolous lawsuit. Because look, Kanye West, as we know, is someone that has a lot of attention paid to him. So most things that he says, most things that he says will get the attention of media outlets and is going to be circulated, and that information is going to get out there. But if the Floyd's family had their loved one's day in court and the justice system found that the officers involved in this were guilty and that he did not die of a drug overdose, then why are you going to sue Kanye West for comments that he made when we know that it isn't the truth? I'm not saying that he deserved to be in a place of, other than being here on this earth to take care of his child or children. I don't remember if he had more than one child. I believe he did. But I'm just here to say that the family, and take this how you will, I don't mean any offense by this, but as it stands, based on all of the monies that were awarded on top of donations that were given, the Floyd family made out a lot better financially with Mr. Floyd, unfortunately, no longer being here than they would have if he was still here. And again, like I said, that's the way I see it based on the information that was put out here. And I'm not saying that to be offensive, but when you see the mother of George Floyd having a press conference to talk about comments that Kanye West made that they say were so disparaging that it caused emotional distress, I'm not here to say that they should just ignore it and just act as if the comments were not said, because that's your opinion or your choice to do what you will with it. But I will say sometimes you do have to let some things go, because if this was not Kanye West, and let's say it was someone named Kevin Williams that made these comments on social media, would they be suing this person for $250 million? A nobody? I'm not saying that people who don't have a billionaire status are nobodies, but you know exactly what I'm trying to get at. So to hear that they were considering filing this lawsuit against Kanye West for the comments that were made, to me, and for most people, if they're going to be honest about it, it looks like another money grab. And that's the part that bothers me about it. That's the part that bothers me. Because if you look at Tamir Rice, who was a child who lost his life due to, unfortunate situation where he had a toy water gun and the cops shot him thinking, I don't want to say thinking, but they're saying that they thought he had an actual weapon. I don't believe that family got anything. Not even justice in court. I don't believe. So George Floyd's family, they got so much over and above information that was put out there because it was on video, and then the protests that were done all across the country and even outside of the United States as well. And then all of the people who had the heavy pockets and the soft hearts donating all of these money. I mean, Barbara Streisand donated Disney stock to the daughter, for crying out loud. I mean, it's like, I don't know. But Candace Owens, on her podcast, she stated that she's considering filing a lawsuit against the Floyd family. She said, I am also sick of frivolous lawsuits. You know, if this is actually considered credible, if you can sue somebody because you're feeling emotionally distressed because of them going out and saying things, well then I think that I have grounds to sue George Floyd's estate. Candace believed that the complaint against Ye was nothing more than a PR stunt. The conservative pundit added, I have grounds to sue George Floyd's family for doing this little PR stunt. It's causing me a ton of distress. I feel angry and I feel upset with the fact that I am fighting for Black America to be freed from the lies while these people are fighting to keep them in the dark. She then accused the media of working together with George's family to bury evidence. She divulged, in fact, we should be able to sue Black Lives Matter. We should be able to sue the media that is clearly colluding with George Floyd's family so that they can bury the evidence. Nothing is going to shut up, and I will fight tooth and nail for people to see the truth. Now, she is saying a lot of things about the Black Lives Matter movement and all of these different things like that. But in some essence of what she's saying, I agree with her. Because like she said, if you can just sue someone for emotional distress because they said something and you know that they have money to pay what you're going to be demanding, then that really shouldn't be allowed. And I agree with her with that. Love Candace Owens, hate Candace Owens, however you feel about it. For me, I don't have any personal feelings towards this woman whatsoever. There's some things, you can eat the meat and spit out the bones. Two things can be true at the same time. You can not like somebody, but they can say something that you agree with, if you're honest. And I have to say that with the statement that she made about them threatening to sue Kanye West because of what he said, and saying that it caused them emotional distress, I'm just here to say I just am over that. I've been over that, not just with them, but just with the legal system overall. And when you are someone that is in the public eye and people see you as someone in a position of money and power, even if you don't have it as much as they think you do, then you become a target. And that's why I said previously with Kanye, you cannot make decisions like this to come out and say a lot of things that you choose to say just because you feel that you have the right to say it. Yes, we should have freedom of speech, but if you want to protect your ass and assets, then you have to be really careful about how you present yourself and what you put out there, because you do become a target. And unfortunately, he just has not learned that. And I've heard someone say, well, who's Kanye's handler? Who's handling him? And I said, I don't believe that he can be handled. Because unless he just wants to have someone that he's paying money to that he's not going to listen to anyway, it's a waste of time and money, because he's going to do what he wants to do anyway, because he has a narcissistic personality and the bipolar and all of that other stuff. He's just hard to be handled. He's just one of those people that feels like nobody can tell me what to do. And he's presented that and shown that over the time of coming out, even before the White Lives Matter t-shirt at the fashion show, before the statements he made about the J community, before the statements he made about the George Floyd situation and how he actually passed away in his opinion, which we know isn't true, but still he said it. He was making all of these crazy comments coming out here about the Gap situation and how he was pissed off that they didn't put the clothing that he wanted to sell in trash bags. He wanted to present his clothing line in trash bags in the department store, in the stores, like craziness. And just a number of other things, saying he doesn't read books, saying, no person who doesn't make as much money as him can tell him how to do business. Well, that is subjective. I just am here to say, when it comes to this threat of litigation against Kanye West because of the statements that he made about George Floyd from the Floyd family because of the emotional distress, I'm just not down for that. I really hope and pray that was just a threat to just try to get him to just cease and desist and be quiet about talking about George Floyd. Okay, cool, fine. But to sue him for emotional distress, if it went that far, I would have to say I would, in my opinion, hope that the court would just throw it out. And that's not saying that I'm on Kanye West's side and agree with what he said, but enough is enough when it comes to these frivolous lawsuits. I am over it. And There's so many people that have been done wrong that did not get any sort of justice. And when I think of people like Tamir Rice's family in comparison to George Floyd, who was an adult, who wasn't living the best life, let's just be honest. He wasn't living the best life, not saying that he deserved to die or that he deserved to be taken out by a police officer. Definitely not saying that. But to put him in comparison with a child who was riding his big wheel or tricycle, playing with a toy water gun or whatever it was, and to have police gun him down saying that they thought he had an actual weapon, and this family did not get justice. They didn't even get justice in the criminal side versus, really civilly, especially when it came to the Black Lives Matter organization, because Tamir Rice's mother came out and made comments about that, as well as about Tamika Mallory as well, and accused them of using her son's name for profit. They definitely didn't make out like the Floyd family did. So to have the Floyd family come out and have a press conference with his mother crying about how Kanye West's comments made them feel, and now you're threatening to sue for $250 million. I don't know. Are your feelings really worth that much money? And you can take that how you will. I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm just being honest. When is enough enough? So guys, those are just my thoughts. You can let me know yours in the comment section. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. And until the next time, this is Beth, and I'm just being beautifully honest.